This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.
Hello, everybody. This is Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited about today's guest. I've been talking about this terrible illness that's it's a self-inflicted illness, diabetes. And so many people are unaware that they even have it because it's so normal in today's world. They don't realize something is going wrong. So today we have a guest. I'd love to have testimonials of people that made the right choices and they're overcoming this illness, this disease that can, in my opinion, easily be overcome when somebody knows what to do and if they haven't waited too long or too late. So today's guest is John Mcmahon. John, say hello to the Real Life audience.
Hello, everybody. Paul, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk to you about this. I know we share a lot in common because you're familiar with what's going on here at True North. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, let me just fill the viewers in and let people know. True North is a fasting retreat. I've been there. I've interviewed the doctor that runs the place, and fasting is just so much great things about fasting. And John's going to share his testimonial, just how he discovered he had diabetes. And this is really important because many people out there, they don't realize they have it. They just think they're overweight. And by the way, even if you're not overweight, you can still have diabetes. So don't think you're off the hook if you're not overweight, if you're just eating the wrong foods. But we're going to hear from John now. And first, John, how old were you, or how many years ago did you get diagnosed with diabetes? And share that a little with the audience.
Well, Paul, it's about six or 7 years ago. I hadn't been taking care of myself. I'm not a guy that goes to the doctor regularly or really even, I'm not compliant with medicine or anything like that. But for whatever reason that I can't remember, I went in for something and went ahead and he said, well, we should do a physical. And long story short, they got some numbers back and basically said, you probably had diabetes for 5 or 10 years. So, I was like 357 pounds. My triglycerides were 2,170. Ridiculous. It was just ridiculous.
Wow.
And my feet were already starting to get numb.
Wow. So you didn't go to medical doctors or anything prior to this. So what, you knew you were obese, but that's the only connection you had. You didn't know anything about diabetes. So when he told you this, what was your first thought in your head?
Well, it was just denial, right? The typical first reaction is denial. And, I know probably I can just fix it with diet. I'll get to it tomorrow. I just got to lose some weight or whatever. And denial just kind of takes over to denial and tomorrow.
Sure.
When I finish this project, when I then I'll do this, and then the habits just continue.
Sure. Now the doctors give their medical plan of how to deal with certain things and medications and all this. When did you realize that I'm not going to listen to the doctors, that the connection, especially to type 2 diabetes, is strictly diet related and lifestyle related? When did you listen to the doctors at first and it wasn't working and then you changed, or did you know right away you didn't want to listen to them?
I'm just kind of so rebellious and independent. They prescribed me a bag full of medicine. They sent me to a cardiologist, which felt like a railroad train to getting a stent. I sat down with the cardiologist. They did the EKG. They said, it looks like you already had a silent heart attack. You might not have known it. And I sort of kind of remember when, immediately this memory popped in, and he scheduled me to come back for an angiogram. And I knew he was just going to railroad me to a stent. And then my regular doctor gave me this bag of prescriptions that ended up being this huge bag. I got it filled and I ended up just throwing it in the trash. And, I thought, well, I'll start to try to clean things up a little bit. So, I went out and got a juicer, and I think I'd seen, Fat, Sick and Nearly Dead, shortly after that, or before that, I used to watch, what's that show, The Biggest Loser. And I thought, I'll just follow those guys. And so, I went around in circles with all of that for a while and always fell back into my old habits.
Sure. And so,
but I didn't educate myself on type 2 diabetes at that point yet.
Okay. But as you started to educate yourself and you started to just start eating healthier you started seeing the results and you started connecting them, how often did you go back to the doctors during your process to check up to make sure, okay, even though you're losing weight, but things internally were going okay? Did you just not go to them at all? Did you go to them on a regular basis?
No, I didn't go on a regular basis. Finally, I had some friends that hounded me, and my sister would hound me. And my buddy of mine kept telling me that I need to go to True North. He'd tell me about True North, and of course, I resisted it. And finally, in 2015, in the spring, I agreed to go. He actually paid for me to come here for a week for 7 days of just eating, and that really started me on the path to kind of waking up.
Now, doctors will say if you have type 2 diabetes, you need to eat, right? You can't fast and all this stuff. So how they deal with that at this fasting retreat? They take people with obviously with diabetes there. So what they tell you with that?
Well, just to step back one step further, the doctors, when I first went, the regular general doctors, they said that typical line, that I've heard from so many people now, that, John, you got type 2 diabetes. A, you're going to have this. You're going to be managing this the rest of your life. B, here's some metformin. You're going to be taking this the rest of your life. And we'll just kind of go from there. If things, if we can't get your blood sugar managed with that, we'll start doing insulin. So, that was, I just ignored that. And to jump forward back to going to the True North Health Center, I just ate. I wasn't ready for a fast. I hadn't prepped properly. I'd been eating a life of fast food, just fast food, and then, and in the type 2 diabetes, I got an education from all the doctors here, and it really started me on my path. So I started with just eating,
Eating healthier.
Yeah. And I did well for about 6 months. And then I got a little cocky, a little confident. I lost like 50 pounds, and I was traveling, and I thought, I'm just going to eat this and that. And I was in London. I thought I'll have a beer and some fish and chips. I'm not going to, I want to enjoy myself and go to a pub. And that started a downhill slide in 2016 that just quickly in 3 months was out of control. I gave up in April of 2016, just went back and was depressed and isolated, and gained all the weight back I'd lost from that first 7 days at True North, gained it all back plus 22 pounds. So,
Wow.
it was pretty depressing, and my feet really started to get numb, and I lost feeling, and I was having angina, and it wasn't good. I was in a bad place at the end of 2016.
And as you did your research, your story is very common. I mean, this is just obesity is connected to not just diabetes, but depression and all these other diseases. And it's crazy that it's we're doing it to ourselves. It's diet related. It's by what we're putting in our bodies. I tell people the real weapons of mass destruction are a knife and a fork, because way more people die from things like this and not realizing it than any mass weapon out there. And it's just crazy. So you got back on your feet, and you made the right choice. So did you start eating healthy again before you did this fast?
No, I didn't actually. I decided that I was going to do this documentary and document my own transformation and my own struggle from the beginning, instead of at the end after I'd transformed. So not knowing what the outcome was going to be, because there are many points when I was going to give up. There were 2-3 points when I, wanted to end my life. Even during the middle of doing the documentary, I just thought, I can't do it. I'm not going to make it. And it was just too much all at once. But somehow I just kept pushing through. And at the end, I realized that I need to reach out for help. I was one of those people, I couldn't do it on my own. And after producing the documentary, I just said, I don't care what it takes. I'm checking in to True North. I'm locking myself up in, jail, as, Dr. Goldhammer likes to call it. And to get through that hump of, it's like going to rehab, and getting yourself withdrawn from, meth, heroin or meth or anything like that. And
Sure.
it truly, really is.
Absolutely. And you went on you said a 32-day water fast?
Well, it's funny. That's a funny story. That was not my intention. My goal was to do a 12-day, and I'd scheduled just a 12-day water fast. And I had to eat 2 days of clean food here, but to sort of help at least get some fiber in me and clear some of my bowels out before I started the water fast. But even so, I was not in a good place. I mean, when I first checked in, I had breakfast. I had eggs Benedict and French toast, coffee and orange juice, and toast. So yeah, it wasn't good, but I made it through the first few days. I was really scared. I thought, man, I thought there was going to be anxiety. I thought I was actually pretty worried. But it turned out, it was fine, and I got to 12 days and I thought, hey, only 2 more days to 14. Why don't I just do 2 weeks? And I got to 14. I thought, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Why don't I just do 3 weeks? I hit 21 and then that turned into 32 days.
Wow. That's just great. And how much weight did you lose during that time?
Well, I lost quite a bit of weight, but as you know, because you're really educated in this area as well, the primary objective of doing this water fast is not to lose weight. Water fast is not a weight loss method. Exactly. This is detoxing. The primary thing I wanted to do here was to give my body a break. I had flogged it and abused it for so many years, and I needed to do some flushing. I needed to quiet my body down, let it try to heal, let it address, maybe start even to heal some of the horrific nerve damage I had done to my micro blood vessels and the neuropathy, and also to reset my taste buds and to get past those addictive cravings so that good food tasted good again. So that was the primary objective, but which I achieved. But during this time, I lost 57 pounds in the 32 days. It was pretty remarkable. My body really wants to live, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yes, that's wonderful news. Now, I once told a guy, he can get off insulin within 30 days if he's changed, if he does make some changes, based on Dr. Gabriel's cousin's documentary of what he did with people with diabetes. And the guy said to me, if I have to change what I eat, I don't want to hear about it. And you personally understand about the addiction to food, and like literally people are willing to die so they don't have to lose their food. So what would you say to somebody that's watching right now, or somebody that knows somebody who's dealing with this? What would you say to them from somebody who's experienced it, this crazy addiction to food where you put your life on a line almost just to be able to eat certain foods?
I would say you're not alone, and you're not crazy, and you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. And as you are going along this path of educating yourself, don't beat yourself up, because actually what you're doing is exactly what your body is designed to do. And that is to seek out the most calorically dense, richest food in the environment and cram it into your face until you drop, because we developed in this world of scarcity. And those are the circuits that are going on. And we got a lot of artificial food out there that we're not designed to be around. So don't feel bad. You're not alone. And just start to surround yourself with people that have made it, and put one foot in front of the other, because man, I'm telling you, you want to be on the other side, and you can do it.
Well, that's great. Now, in this documentary, you don't only encourage people through your amazing story, but how much do you get into the instructions of what they need to be avoiding and what they should be doing?
Well, that's the beauty of doing a 9-part documentary series. Most documentaries are just like one DVD. There are 60 minutes or 90 minutes. These are 9 DVDs that are, some are 75 to 90 minutes to 2 hours. And so we are able to go into depth into the seriousness of the problem of diabetes, just to hit people over the head and realize that it is a truly world pandemic, and it is overwhelming the world with the medical system. And then 2, the myths that surround diabetes and all of the things that it causes. It sits there underneath cancer and heart disease and kidney disease and a host of other problems, and it's happy to not take credit, but it's the underlying cause for a third or a half of all of those top killers. So we do a lot of education there over just like 3 DVDs, and then we dip into the myths surrounding food and the myths that we're brought up with, and then the real causes of diabetes, which are about insulin resistance. It's not about blood sugar and your A1C. It's about insulin resistance, and how so many people in America, probably over 80%, are already flogging their pancreas to death, and they've already got insulin resistance, and they don't even know it. They're on this path. And then we get into the psychological stuff, the environmental toxins, the glyphosate, the lead, the mercury that's covering the planet, how that's contributing to toxify our cells. And then we have the 2 full DVDs covering addiction, the pleasure trap, 3 more traps after the pleasure trap, just to get aware of what exactly we're up against and not to underestimate it. And then finally, Dean Ornish is really beautiful about bringing things together at the end with community and connection and love and support in this world where we're more connected than ever. Through our phones, it seems we're disconnected personally. So it's like, we just forgot how to live.
Sure. Now, I want people to see this documentary, this series that's coming out. It's coming out February 28th, depending when you watch this. The link will be below the video where you can always order it. But real quick, this insulin resistance idea versus the blood sugar idea. I mean, I'm encouraging everyone to get to this video series, this documentary, and see it. But somebody's struggling now. They're excited to do it. They don't want to wait till the 28th to find out about blood sugar versus insulin resistance. This wasn't something that you discovered. This is well-known science, and it's out there. So can they just go right to the internet right now and just type in Google diabetes and insulin resistance versus blood sugar or something and get a good amount of information, or is this information not too out there?
Well, it's not out there in the mainstream from standard medical practice standpoint because they're not measuring that. But one of the people on the cutting edge of this that has been reversing diabetes for years and has a specific programs for this and in-depth medical tests is Dr. Wes Youngberg down out of Southern California. And I'm actually going into detail about all the blood. I'm actually getting a blood test tomorrow. It's a huge panel, a comprehensive blood test that goes over the insulin resistance. And here's the bottom line. Yes, you can find out how to get your insulin tested. And we actually have a bonus video that talks specifically about the insulin resistance, but it's basically in a nutshell, it's a 4-hour glucose monitoring test, but they add in insulin resistance along with it at each 1-hour intervals for 4 hours. And they also add in C-peptides, C-reactive proteins, inflammation, a bunch of other markers. They go deeper into measuring your cholesterol because they're going to separate things out into particle size. Actually, it's a separate, more expensive test on particle size for your LDL for all the different kinds, and it really gives you a comprehensive idea. For example, on my pre-one, it showed that my pancreas level had already diminished to 60% of what it was normally. I mean, that was just shocking biofeedback to realize that I'd already done that much damage. And there are people in their 20s that you'll be able to see already they're insulin resistant, but their blood sugar will be normal. They'll feel just fine, but their little pancreas engine is running like it's 7,500 RPMs, and it should be running at 1,500 RPMs, and it's wearing it out.
Wow. And so I know you are dealing with type 2 diabetes. Do they get into type 1 diabetes in the series?
Absolutely. Actually, I interview a couple of guys. These guys are great at masteringdiabetes.com. If you've got type 1 diabetes, Cyrus Kambata is a PhD in nutritional chemistry, and his partner Robbie they're both type 1 diabetics. And these guys in the episode, we've got full interviews on both of them. They're full interviews, talk about type 1 diabetes. They talk about it in the episodes as well. And the bottom line is, type 1 diabetics also need to manage their insulin better. The more insulin you inject in your body, the more likely you are to develop all the complications of diabetes. And by optimizing your lifestyle and your diet and your nutrition, people have cut their insulin levels by up to half, and that means longer life, better life, happier life.
Yeah. So basically, correct me if I'm wrong. Type 2 diabetes is 100% curable. You can get off all insulin if you do the right things. Type 1, you can definitely improve your condition by doing the lifestyle changes and the diet changes, but it's not as clear cut, a cure all. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, but this is encouraging, very encouraging, because that's what Dr. Gabriel Cousins found out in his 30-day experiment where he put people just on a raw food diet, and he found the same thing out. Everyone improved, and that's what we're looking
Everybody
for, improvement
across the board.
And
also they're finding the cutting edge on type 1 diabetes. The finger, the smoking gun is looking like inflammatory reaction, allergic reaction to dairy products, and about 1 in 10 children have them to varying degrees. And now, even though it's not widely publicized, it is now a standard. It should be a doctor's recommendation that kids do not. It's not worth the risk of having your kids have any dairy products at least until after they're 10 years old, because they risk being that 1 in 10 it'll kill their pancreas. They don't know it, and they'll get type 1 diabetes. Now, Dr. Furman also talked about some of the kids that they've caught early enough, and they still had pancreatic function, and they caught that inflammation. They were able to reverse that, it's absolutely a miracle. It's fantastic.
Well, I talk about diabetes all the time. I promote Dr. Gabriel Cousins' work on it, but I have not had enough material out on it. I have over 2,000 videos on the internet. I have a ton of stuff about cancer, a ton of stuff about inflammatory bowel disease, and now I'm excited to have this interview with you, and also the series. What's the name of the series called?
It's called I Thrive: Rising from the Depths of Diabetes and Obesity.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I would tell people, my viewers right now, out of every single topic I've ever discussed from a health standpoint, I think if YouTube came to me, and I hope this doesn't happen, and says you have to take down all your videos except 3 topics, I would leave my videos about cancer. I would leave my videos about this diabetes, and I would leave my videos about inflammatory bowel disease.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's way too common, more common than it should be. And obesity, there's more books out now about dieting than ever before in the history of man, and we have more obese people than ever before. And it just ties into the market. They know how to just convince people to just literally commit a suicide by what they're eating, and it's just crazy. And I was so excited when I saw your video and saw that you were the one that experienced this, and not just people but you yourself firsthand experiencing it. And I love to connect people with people that are going through it, because you can understand and connect with people on an emotional level and understand the psychological part of it. So John, I'm so excited about this, and I definitely want to interview you some more in the future, and I thank you for taking the time to interview me now. The link is below the video, everybody, of the series. It starts, depending when you're watching this, but on February 28th, the series is going to start. And you just click on that link now. Don't wait. Click on the link now and reserve your spot. It's completely free, and reserve your spot now. And John, what's your lasting message you want to leave here? But you will be back again. But what do you want to tell people right now?
I want to tell people to just, like what Dr. Furman told me, he said, John, this is a serious journey. You want to really inform yourself. You want to educate yourself. People out there, just keep gathering information. Keep surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Your health is worth it. And your journey will unfold in front of you, and just keep moving forward. And I look forward to meeting anyone out there that wants to meet. And Paul, what a pleasure to meet you and get to hang out with you. I look forward to meeting you in person as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, everybody, put your comments and questions below the video, and thank you for checking it out. Definitely check out that link, the 9-part series. I mean, you owe it to yourselves to see it, because everyone's going to know somebody affected with diabetes at some point. So do that, and let me hear your questions. Until then, everybody, have a great day and a great raw life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.